Good afternoon again. Still over on the intersection of near the airport. I just wanted to mention that last night there was more harassing and strife pertaining to the redistricting, and I don't know if they're really official or not, but they insist that they are. An old man, including an old man that continues to monopolize from the operation that I experienced during high school in Sebring. The man alleging being from Avon Park. Anyway, I don't know how that would be relevant to redistricting here, but he or another wanted to really sound arrogant and shouting tone and air conditioning. You know, they get into the air conditioning system as though it's meant to be a broadcasting system instead. And he wanted to say, we're going to slice this border right through this Viking motor lodge again. And anyway, what he's about is that the border between the districts and also the border of Manatee County is on Edwards Drive. Just north of what used to be the Viking Motor Lodge on the intersection just south of Edwards Drive on US 41 across from the airport. Back in 1988, for months in '88, I stayed in the Viking Motor Lodge during a period of time when they were starting to close down. I did a little bit of grounds work, but they didn't require much of anything because they were starting to close and had rooms available, and I had paid for a room there dozens of nights, maybe even as many as 100 nights before. So by the time that they were planning to close, I was allowed to have a room there through the summer, and up until the election. The day after the election, suddenly a man with a Massachusetts a college security man with a Massachusetts accent banged on the door, told me I had to leave. The election had been 88 when George Bush won the election, and there had been some shouting earlier about as though I was had been saying that Dukakis was going to win. I don't remember all the details, but on the day after the election in '88, I had to leave. So anyway, as the late night last night, the comment by the man from allegedly being from Avon Park or one of the others. Was around 11 o'clock. There are a lot of loud. They like shouting. You know, they like shouting. They like argument, and they like always intruding into wherever I happen to be by getting into the traffic or air conditioning. And soon he was also saying. He also said an accusation of you'd be found in depths. Okay, now what does he mean by that? In depths. You know, he's talking about deep water. And what he decided to say was that because of them getting at me through the operation, that they had decided to make something secret out of a map discovery that I worked on in the Viking Motor Lodge, probably starting a couple of months before. It was a real interesting map. I've mentioned it many times since. The first place I offered it back then was on a chart table of a nearby Coast Guard station. Well, anyway, a lot of the intersects about the map that I discovered, that I'll mention a little bit more in another message soon, a lot of the intersects were exactly on the continental shelf. And to me it looked like something like an indication of creation about how a triangular pattern was so symmetrical that so many points would touch exactly to the edges of continental shelves along our coast and along coasts everywhere else in the world. So anyway, I had used a National Geographic world map during the study. I used the physical side of the map that showed all the underneath bottom of the ocean features, etc. So anyway, he decided to, after all these years, say that they had kind of glommed onto it and claimed control over it, and they started conspiring about it. So anyway, that's probably where the reefs fuses threat started. In other words, that they started, probably maybe 10 years ago. They wanted to use the same particular gays alleging being Marines, wanting to start a threat of alleging that the reefs were fuses, or that there's fuses in the reefs. But to me, like I said, it looked like more of an indication of, symmetrical, that I thought it was kind of like a map of discovery. But the others, the opposition from the former stepfather and the operation, decided to try to make something destructive out of it. So anyway, I noticed another concern pertaining to that. The election mail I received the sample ballot, but unfortunately it turned out to be District 17. So anyway, on the sample ballot, as others would notice also, that the official stamp for the mailing includes what looks like blue waves covering the words of election mailing. And so that reminds me that some of the corruption really like to actually believe that they proceed with an attitude of this area of our state, of our nation, is all supposed to be underwater somehow. So anyway, people might want to inquire to them about that a little bit more, and this is continuing to always be for everyone being safe instead, for sane sense. Have a good day.